In this lesson, you're going to learn how to purchase and point a domain and install WordPress. When you're going to purchase your domain name, one of the things that you want to keep in mind, first of all, try to make sure that you get a .com extension if at all possible. .net and .org are starting to become a little bit more popular, but again, most people, when they're looking to find your domain name, they're going to put in .com. So for example, Starengu.com, that's my site, or Google.com. A lot of people are still using .com. So try to get that as your domain extension. Okay. Then the second thing that I want you to make sure that you think about is your domain name available across all of your social media platforms? So for example, if I were to type in starengu.com, which is my website, okay? So if I were to type that in and I click search, anything that is in green lets you know that it's available to be purchased, okay? So and to be honest, I'm not really interested in a lot of these extensions, hence why I didn't decide to purchase these extensions. But if I wanted to, I could go back and purchase them. However, I did make sure that a lot of the platforms that I intend on using for my business are I went ahead, not purchased, but are taken. So when I purchase my domain name, the very next thing that I do is I make sure that I go and claim all of the usernames on the platforms that I intend to use with my domain name. So for example, I've got a Facebook page, I've got my YouTube channel, I've got my Twitter, I've got my Instagram and Google Plus and all of those good things. So I've already went ahead and made sure to claim my name on the social network platforms that I intend on using. So I just wanted to call that to your attention. And let's go ahead. So let's say, for example, we're ready. We've already gone to namecheck.com, made sure that the domain name that we're looking for is available, and made sure that we've went ahead and claimed the usernames on the social media platforms that we intend to use. So then the first thing I'm going to do is, okay, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go to Siteground.com. Okay, and Siteground is going to be the web hosting company. You have the ability to purchase your domain name and purchase your web hosting at the same time by using Siteground. Now, if you choose to, you could have your domain name at a different company and then point that domain over to Siteground. And I'll show you how to do that a little bit later in the video, or I may just do a separate video on that. I'm not quite sure yet. So we'll see. If we have enough time, I'm going to try and squeeze that into this video. But again, you have the ability to purchase your domain name and your web hosting from Siteground. And so let's go ahead and do that right now. So I'm going to go to web hosting. And then you could choose which program or which plan that you would like to purchase. There's the startup plan and the grow big and go geek. Now, since you're first starting off, you may just have one website. Then that's fine. Go ahead and purchase this plan, the startup plan. However, I highly recommend that you purchase the Grow Big plan, because then you can have multiple websites and you can kind of avoid having to go through the hassle of upgrading at a later time, because I do have a feeling once you get the hang of having one website, you may want to keep going. So the Grow Big plan is something that I highly recommend. So I'm just going to go ahead and act like I'm going to do the Grow Big plan. And then I'm going to press Get Started. And then we've already done this when we went to name check, but let's go ahead and type in a domain name that we would like to purchase. So I'm just going to put, I'm just going to make up something. I love cookies and WordPress. Again, just something, I'm just making something up just to show you this whole process. So, and then I would click proceed. Okay, can't use WordPress. Sorry about that. So I forgot about that part. I love cookies and chocolate. Let's try that one. Okay, so that's available. So we're going to go ahead and fill in all of this information. Okay. Make sure that you are writing down especially the account information, because you're going to need that to log back in the event that you get kicked out after you complete your purchase. So you go ahead, enter all of this information. Okay. Just a call out, a small call out here. There's something called the data center. It should automatically populate with which location you'd like to have as your data center. So just basically where their servers are located. I'm in the Chicagoland area, so Chicago is already pre-populated. But if you're closer to one of these other data centers, by all means, make sure that you go ahead and click and make sure that you're choosing the data center that's closest to you. Then they have some extras down here. It's completely up to you whether you want to go ahead and purchase this extra information. The domain privacy, I do want to call out. You might, if you're looking to save money, I understand you may not need this, but just so you know, your billing information that you use to purchase the domain is the exact same information that is going to be registered on a site that's called Whois. So in the event that other people would like to purchase your domain name, or they're, just looking around for information, if you purchase this with your home address, it's going to be visible. Your home address, your phone number, all of that is going to be visible unless you purchase the domain privacy. So I highly suggest going ahead and just purchasing that, because if you do, then your web hosting company, again, we're using Siteground for this example, but your web hosting company will mask that information. So they basically, if someone wanted to purchase your domain or contact you for some unforeseen reason, they would only see your web hosting company information. They would have to do some digging to really find out who you are. And they would most likely contact the web hosting company to do so. Okay. SG site scanner, that's optional. I'm just going to click that off and keep everything else just so I could show you. What your price would be. So you're looking about $100 for all of this information. Okay. Again, just showing you everything that you needed to fill out. Now, once you have all of this filled out, you're going to go ahead and click Pay Now, and then it's going to prompt you to another screen where you would go ahead and purchase, you would complete the purchase of your domain. Okay. Now I already have this information, so I'm going to go ahead and click out of this. Okay. And I'm going to take you to this next screen where you're going to need to install your WordPress. So you're going to log back in the event that you were kicked out after you completed your purchase. And then you're going to click on My Accounts. And then you're going to go to cPanel. Now, once you get to cPanel, the first thing that I want you to do is go down to WordPress Installer. Oh, sorry about that. Auto Installer. Sorry about that. Auto Installers is where you need to go, and then you click on WordPress. And then you're going to scroll down to Install Now. Click on Install Now. You're going to click on HTTP, because that's most likely what you're going to have right now. And then you're going to choose the domain name that you need to install. So that domain name that you just purchased should automatically be populated if it's the only one that you've done. Okay. So you're going to click on that, and then you're going to scroll down. Choose your username and password for your cPanel. Okay. And then you're going to click Install. Okay. I'm not going to click it because I already have this installed, so I really don't want to do that, but that's how you would go about installing WordPress. Okay. Now, the username and password that you use right here is going to be the same one, most likely, that you would log into for your WordPress site. So in order to get into your WordPress site, I'll show you that in a later video, but I would like to go back and revisit, just in case some of you already have your domain name. If you already have purchased a domain name from another company like GoDaddy or Namecheap, and you literally just need hosting, what you would do is you would log into your domain name account. So I'm going to use Namecheap. I have domain names with Namecheap and GoDaddy. I love Namecheap. They're much better than GoDaddy in my opinion, but again, just my opinion. But I'm going to show you how easy it is to do it with Namecheap. So let's say that you have your domain name and you purchased it with Namecheap. You would just go into your account, click domains, click the domain that you want to take a look at and have it pointed to Siteground. So you're going to go ahead. Oh man, okay, logged me out. You're going to go ahead and log into your account. And just so you know, if you already have an account with Namecheap, you know that they ask you to do two-step verification. So they're going to send you a text message, and then you just input that information once you get it. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in. Input that security code information. And now I am prompted, I'm in the domain menu, okay? I'm going to scroll down, and here is where you put in your name servers, guys. So regardless of what web hosting company, even if you don't end up with Siteground, if you're using Namecheap as your domain, as the place where you host your, as the place where you purchase your domain, sorry about that, you would just go ahead and put in your name servers. Okay, so whatever company you choose to have as your web hosting company, you need to ask them to get that name server information. Okay, because if your domain name is housed at a different company, they need to know where to point the domain. Okay, so again, this domain name that I have is currently hosted with Namecheap. And so I is currently residing at Namecheap. I want to have this pointing to Siteground. So I need to make sure that I ask Siteground, hey, what's the name servers? I've got a domain name over at GoDaddy or Namecheap, and I need to have your name server so I can have that domain name pointing over to you. They're going to go ahead, give you the name server information. You just come into your domain name and then you point it to your web hosting company. Now, if you're using Siteground, there's another step that you need to do in order to make sure that everything is connecting properly and the signals are feeding each other back and forth. Okay, so you need to go back to your web hosting company. In this example, we're using Siteground. And because I'm on the Grow Big plan, I need to go to my cPanel. Okay, add on domains, put in that domain name that you have over at Namecheap or whatever company you chose. This is going to automatically populate once you've entered your domain name, and then you choose your password, and then you add your domain name. And then you would just go ahead and follow those exact same steps in installing WordPress that we just did. Okay, so if you've got any questions in how to purchase your domain name and install your WordPress, please feel free to ask me, because I know sometimes this could be a little tricky. But again, you've got access to me. Feel free to contact me via the discussion board or send me a note via our Facebook group. Okay, so again, you just learned how to purchase your domain name and install WordPress. And in the event that you have a domain name that's at a different company, you also learned how to point that domain name. Again, if you've got any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.